Are you ready for some smart, plain talk on politics, Israel, and the law? It's the Andrew Parker Show. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Andrew Parker Show. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk today, as we do every episode, Politics, Israel, and the Law. I want to talk today specifically about warmongering. Those who never saw a dispute that war could not solve, the horrors of war could not solve. War should arise only as a last resort. But as a last resort, war is necessary. In other words, it should not be exiled to the gulags. War is sometimes necessary. It is sometimes necessary in order to obtain peace, in order to defend freedom and liberty that provides long lives for so many, and to avoid the death and killing of despots, tyrannical regimes that we have seen so often. So when you hear those that say the answer to every question for this leader or that leader seems to be war, you should analyze and consider. For example, the state of Israel. People claim that Bibi Netanyahu is constantly, consistently, and is looking only at one alternative to disputes, and that is war, to launch war. But the fact of the matter is that tens of thousands, arguably hundreds of thousands, or at least 100 and some thousand missiles are aimed at the state of Israel from just Hezbollah, let alone the missiles that Hamas used to have until war was visited upon them, or they actually started on October 7th, certainly. And Iran, many missiles pointed at Israel, as well as several other countries still in the Middle East. And so does a leader of a democratic society have the right to defend its people? And that's what Bibi Netanyahu has done consistently. Now, he is called out with many, many lies and is vilified here, even in the United States, by the Democratic Party, that so many Jews vote for each year, in which I called for the Jews of America not to abandon the Jews of Israel, which it is becoming much more clear now that if you cast your vote for the Democratic Party, you are casting an anti-Israel vote. You are turning your back on the Jews of Israel. They are having a vote coming up this week, in fact, in the U.S. Congress to halt all aid to the state of Israel at a time when tensions, hostilities could not be worse. And this vote, while it likely will not pass, and it will get maybe a couple of Republican votes, will get many Democrat votes. Many. I don't know if it'll be a majority of those in the House. I doubt it. But it has reached that point. For this, the greatest ally that the United States has in the world, standing side by side, yes, better than Europe, the European countries, Spain, Italy, France, Great Britain. Oh, yes. Much better ally than any of them, as we have seen most recently. But turning back to this warmonger accusation, of course, Lindsey Graham, an enormous loss for our country, called a warmonger repeatedly by those on the other side of the aisle. Not all of them, but many. And yes, he got along with many on the other side of the aisle. But attacking him as a warmonger because he believed in freedom and liberty and democracy and democratic countries around the world, and that defending them and defending those ideals and that the values of Western civilization was worth using the last resort if necessary. And when it comes to Iran, for example, it is necessary. They will never change, number one. Number two, you cannot trust them at all. Donald Trump is learning this. He had a sense of it, but he's now truly learning it. And he hopefully will end up in the right spot, as he has been walking the wrong path for several weeks now. But hopefully he will end back on the correct path, that as is the case sometimes, there is only one resolution, and it is through destruction and war, until you have an unconditional surrender. The Israelis have learned that, with many Jews having died, much Jewish blood running in the street. The Jews of Israel have seen it. They know it. And they have to defend themselves. The Jews learned from World War II. Walking like, some say, like sheep to slaughter. I saw Bill Maher just had a recent statement about the fact that the Jews are not going to repeat World War II. They are going to defend themselves. And those in the Democratic Party here in the United States, those on college campuses, those professors on college campuses, as well as students, who simply want the Jews of Israel to accept on October 7th, to accept missiles raining down on them week in, week out, and to live that way. Well, that isn't going to be the case. And why is it now, after October 7th, that popular opinion toward Israel has plummeted here in the United States? What is the basis for it? What is it that has happened recently that would warrant these polls to be shifting in such a direction? Well, Gaza. I mean, they flattened Gaza. They were destroyed. The worst day in Jewish history since the Holocaust. on October 7th, and they responded. And they responded in a way that was civilian to combatant ratio like no other urban combat in human military history. Ever. That ratio was so small of civilian casualties. Despite the tunnel warfare that Hamas engaged in. It's miraculous. It's amazing. No, the United States can't roll over on Israel, in terms of popular opinion now I'm talking about, because of Gaza. Unless you believe the lies, there was no genocide. It was never anywhere near. It's just a pack of unadulterated, pure lies and fiction. You remember when they said there was a genocide in Jenin 20 years ago? The Israelis carried it out. It was 15 years ago. And all these people were murdered, and the story got bigger and bigger, or traveled around the world. Months later, it was determined, well, they're a little off. It wasn't thousands. It wasn't hundreds. It wasn't dozens. No. No, the lies are legion. And they continue. So is that it? It's just a bunch of lies, and it has hurt public opinion toward Israel. And because I continue to ask, what is the Democratic Party's problem with the state of Israel? Why is it that there are so many that want to cut off aid? Israel has the same fundamental values that the United States has. It's the only democracy in the Middle East. It is the only government that doesn't disappear its people, has a rule of law, and has a justice system. Second to none with Arab, Muslim Arab Supreme Court justice. No, there really is no basis for it. Well, what about the occupation, Parker? What about the genocide? What about treatment of the Palestinians? Well, first off, there is no occupation. There is no country in the world that has been defined as being occupiers based on the facts that exist with the state of Israel. None. Of course, it's still bandied about. Oh, they're occupying. No, they're not. They're the indigenous people of this land. Well, they're colonizers. You know, that's now the big one for the socialists. I found a statement about that, about Israel as a colonizing country. And here's what it says. I thought I'd share it with you all. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Are you a business owner? Are you losing sleep because you feel your partner isn't carrying their weight, or because you no longer share the same vision or values? Are you no longer comfortable going into your own office? Are you walking on eggshells in the company you built? This is Chris Daniels, founding partner of Parker Daniels Keyboard LLC, a premier litigation law firm headquartered in downtown Minneapolis. For more than 30 years, I've specialized in business litigation and have helped hundreds of business owners resolve troubling business disputes. As a former certified public accountant, I get to the heart of the dispute, including financial issues. Business divorce can be messy, time-consuming, and costly, but doing nothing can cost you a lot more. Not just money, but emotionally, physically, and in your personal life. If you and your business partner no longer see eye to eye and you're eager to take a proactive approach and make a change, please call me at 612-355-4100 and schedule a consultation. Or visit our website at www.parkerdk.com.
Calling Israel a settler colonial state collapses under the weight of history. Uh-oh, he's talking history. Let's turn him off, Don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear about history. Don't want to hear facts from history. We want to revise history, as is so often done. No, it collapses under the weight of history. Colonizers have a mother country. The Jews did not. Colonizers seek to expand an empire. The Jews sought to return to the land where their civilization, language, religion, and national identity were born. They are the indigenous people here. Cannot be colonizers. The expansion of an empire, now that comes from the Muslim countries, the Arab countries in the Middle East. The Jewish connection to the land of Israel predates Christianity and Islam. It survived Roman exile, and it has never disappeared since that time. A people cannot colonize the birthplace of their own civilization. To label indigenous Jews as foreign colonizers requires erasing thousands of years of documented history, archaeology, continuous Jewish presence, and the very origins of the Hebrew language and Jewish peoplehood. That is not historical analysis. It is historical revisionism to refer to Jews as colonizers in Israel. So they're not colonizers. The Jews in Israel did not commit a genocide. They had a ratio of civilian to combatant smaller than any urban military campaign in human history. So it can't be that. They are not, under international law, occupying anyone's land. They are not occupying. They're not expanding settlements as they could be. Now, there are some expansions, there are some contractions, there are movements like would be the case with a country, any country. But these grievances, these complaints, are just absolutely wrong, and they're despicable. They're as fake and false as the young Palestinian child who they take video of on a gurney or a stretcher, having just been blown up, according to the story, and the grieving father crying next to the child. Oh, the child started to move. Huh. Oh, the child got up a little bit too early. The camera was still on. Yeah. I'm not making fun of anyone. It's true. I've seen it. Many of you have seen it. That happens. And it is that kind of propaganda that is being peddled. So the dangers of what the Democratic Party is accepting as truth, and it is impacting the entirety of the party, which is now driven by forces that are just openly anti-Semitic. And when I say driven by, people say, it is not. It's a small little, faction on the far left of the Democratic Party, and that's it. Well, that's just not true. It may be that the middle of the Democratic Party is not carrying the banner, the torch, the flag of that far left movement, but they're supporting it. And be honest now. Can you answer this? Could any candidate for the Democratic nomination win a primary if they come out pro-Israel openly, publicly, forcefully? No. They can't win with that. They cannot win a Democratic primary with that message. In most places. All right, not everywhere, but in most places in this country where the Democrats control the primary. It's not going to be a Republican seat, for example. And the Democrats control a primary, so they're overwhelmingly a Democratic district. And if you're given that speech about whether you'll support, which has been for decades supported by the United States, military aid to maintain a qualitative military edge in the Middle East, the QME, the qualitative military edge for Israel in the Middle East, because as soon as that is gone, there will be war. The QME has maintained the peace for as much as there's been. October 7th blew the cover off that, the lid off that. But without the military assistance of the United States, Israel, which it's already planning to do, is going to have to maintain or gain again the qualitative military edge on its own. And the Democratic Party is moving in that direction, voting against assistance to the state of Israel. Assistance that is almost all spent back here in the United States. Assistance that allows the United States to engage in the Middle East through Israel, through its number one ally, in a way that no other country in the world can provide. So the value of this assistance really cannot be questioned. So valuable. Lindsey Graham understood that. He understood it very, very well. He's going to be missed. With that, I wanted to comment on one other thing. A prediction. It's a prediction moment on the Andrew Parker Show. The prediction is based upon the number of immigrants, the number of minorities here in the United States, which many of which are very, very welcome and are legally here and should be and are creating a wonderful melting pot society, which I believe in so much. But soon I predict that there will be, from hither and yon, hues and cries of apartheid here in the United States. Yes, the fight will be, it'll be a rallying cry for the left, calling the United States an apartheid state. Now, maybe that's already happened. I haven't heard much of that. I think it's going to become one of the biggest protests out there, hollering from the depths of their voices about the U.S. as an apartheid state. Because it doesn't, it starts with Israel. Of course, they've been attacking Israel as an apartheid state, which is the most outrageous of libels against the state of Israel. Couldn't be any further from an apartheid state. It's just stupid, ridiculous. But the same is going to be launched against the United States. So wait for it, and when it happens, go to the AndrewParkerShow.com and say, wow, Parker, you were right. So the AndrewParkerShow.com. You can also text us, 952-522-2818. Leave us your email address as well. Subscribe. Get the immediate drops as they fall each week regarding the show. And when the apartheid accusation is out there, you'll remember where you heard it first. So, apartheid for the United States and warmongering accusations against anyone who believes that there are sometimes a need for military action. There are sometimes a requirement in order to gain the peace. As was the case in World War II, there had to be war. And when it comes to Iran, they're not going to change, just as the Nazis weren't. They are vicious haters who believe in death like we believe in life. And it's an unconditional surrender that is the result. And the use of war, the use of our military is sadly required. Can always have a diplomatic arm. But with some, military action is all that can occur. And for some things, fighting for certain things is worthy. It's written that there is the occasional and narrow just war. Until next time, I say once again, be kind to your neighbor. For more Smart Plain Talk, go to theandrewparkershow.com. Learn about all of your listening and viewing options. And remember, all the great things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word: freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, hope. This episode of The Andrew Parker Show is sponsored by Parker Daniels Keyboard. Mark Twain once quipped, "A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. When you are lied about and it spreads, the resulting mayhem and destruction can be, and often is, disastrous. Hi, this is Andrew Parker, co-founder of the Parker Daniels Keyboard Law Firm. I recently handled a high-profile defamation lawsuit on behalf of a luxury home real estate agent whose business was decimated by falsehoods spread about him. After nearly 2 years of litigation and 2 weeks of trial, the jury came back with a verdict of more than $2 million for our client. Parker Daniels Keyboard. We litigate cases, we try cases, and we win cases. With a record of excellence in achieving extraordinary results, Parker Daniels Keyboard lawyers have consistently won huge verdicts for its clients in the areas of defamation, civil rights violations, regulatory battles, and intellectual property theft. For wise counsel and winning results, contact us at Parker Daniels Keyboard, premier law firm in downtown Minneapolis.